with me. But one of the other huge reasons that I was looking for a business that I could do around my family at the time was because when we were working in this retail business, before I decided that I'd had enough and, basically had a breakdown because of, the retail and Brett's marital stresses, the children's stresses that were going on. We had our kids in daycare after school, and Jack, who was 2 at the time, he was in daycare for several days a week. And I went to pick him up. Brett and I went to pick him up from daycare one night and one afternoon, and we pulled up by the curb, and I could see some of the ladies from the daycare walking around. And I turned to Brett and I said to him, something's wrong. And he said to me, what do you mean? I said, I don't know, something's wrong. So we got out of the car and we walked into the room that Jack was normally staying, or, that's where his childcare room was. And I could see a lady standing in the doorway, another doorway, and I said to her, where's Jack? And she was holding a child. And I was like, that's not Jack. And Brett goes, there's Jack. And I said, that's not Jack. And I said, where's Jack? And she just looked at me with this dark look on her face. And she said, we don't know. The intensity that a mother goes through when she realizes that her child is missing. Oh my God. I swiftly turned and I ran back out the gate, and I basically pushed Brett out the way. And all I could do when I got back out into the street was scream his name. And, Brett's still sort of basically having a conversation with them in the room, like, what do you mean you don't know where Jack is? And they quickly explained to him, well, a parent left the gate open and Jack saw an opening and out he ran, and we kind of haven't seen him for a little while. And meanwhile, I'm running in all directions, and all I could think of was, a dog has got my son. Maybe he's wandered into somebody's yard and he's fallen into a pool. I mean, he's 2. And I got to the corner of an intersection and I looked that way and I couldn't see him. And I looked that way and a car had stopped on the side of the road, and it had caught my eye, and there was a lady standing there holding a child. And I ran so fast up to her, and she kind of pushed me back, and she had Jack, and she pushed me back, and she was, partially disgusted. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Thank you. And she was like looking at me, and I'm like, the daycare had my son and they lost him, and I come to pick him up and we couldn't find him, and he got out, and she kind of went, oh, I get it. You're not one of those mothers that have just let their child run free. And she handed him over. And the relief was like, I can't explain it. And I remember getting in the car, and, the girl who was in charge of his room, she wanted to resign, and I didn't want it to happen because you can't control what other people do, right? And a father had left the gate open, and, Jack had seen an opening and off he went. And I was just so grateful that he was okay, and that, we were able to go home together as a family that night. And I remember he had a visitation, or, the weekend with his birth father that weekend. And when I went to drop him off to Andrew, I said to Andrew, this is what's happened. Please don't take him out of your sight. So I went home that night, and I think Brett and I, between the 2 of us, we polished off like 5 bottles of wine so quickly. And the next day I woke up and I wasn't real happy. But I was so grateful that we had Jack. And I said to Brett that day, I need to find something that I can do around my children. I need to do something that I can do to help other people do exactly the same thing. And I need to do it with something that is going to make a difference in the world. And at the time, I didn't know what was ahead for me. I didn't know that I was going to click on a banner ad and it was going to change our lives and make me believe in what I'm doing now. But it did. And if my story can help you make a decision about what you want to do in your future, it might not even be this, but don't wait for a missing child. Don't wait for a struggle with child custody. Don't wait for any of that to happen. If you want to do something in your life that's going to make a difference to other people as well as your own family and really ignite something in your belly that's going to make a difference in the world, go ahead and do it. If you're interested in what I'm doing right now, please let me know, because I'm here to really help other people make a difference in their life and to earn an income at the same time. Because basically, at the end of the day, if you can recommend a product that's helping other people and you can get paid for doing it and it's making a difference to your life and other people's lives, why wouldn't you do it?